So you want to raise $1 million. It's John O'Brien, by the way, entrepreneur. And I've founded 40 organizations, for those you don't know the story yet. So I'm talking from a sense of authority, and raised $3.5 billion and placed it in underserved neighborhoods through Operation Hope, and another $100 million of equity, of value in the Promise Homes Company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so now you got the bona fides, as they call it. Okay, so you want to raise $1 million. I'm sorry, you think you need $1 million for your business venture or for whatever. Okay, the first thing to understand is that capital is not money. Okay? So if you're running around saying I need money, you're just scaring people. You're scaring investors off. You're scaring people who are substantive off, because people who, first of all, here's a real rule of everything in business. You got to be cool, okay? Because it is a joke in banking, but it's serious. A bank will lend you money when you can prove you don't need it. That's not cynical. If you were the banker, if you owned a bank and it was your equity at risk, if you owned it was a bank of you wouldn't loan anybody money unless you thought they could pay it back either. So don't be hating on the bank. I know I wouldn't loan you money if I had a bank unless I thought I was going to get it back. So if you're talking about real money, and let's say anything over a couple $100,000 is real money, not for a mortgage, right? But for unsecured debt, a loan, business, whatever. Remember that the bank will loan you money when you can prove you don't need it. But most investors, right, they have a similar approach. If you look desperate, no one's going to loan you money. If you say, I can't live without this, well, no one's going to loan or invest you money. No one wants a liability, and no one owes you anything. So you got to get your mind right and understand that. And please write this down. It comes from my book, The Memo, the last book I wrote, The 5 Rules on Financial and Economic Liberation and Independence. And I'm writing my next book now, so stay tuned for that. But the memo says that capital comes from the Latin root word capitas, which means knowledge in the head. Literally, capital is learning. Capital is knowledge. Capital is perspective. So making money and building wealth are two different things. Okay, somebody's saying right now, John, can you just get on to how I raise $1 million, right? So you got to get your mind right, first of all. You got to get your head right so that people want to invest in you because they see you as an asset and not a liability. Number 2, you have to have a plan, and you have to have a business plan. You got to figure out how you're going to pay the money back. But let's assume you just, okay, fine, you got all that's done, and now you want to raise $1 million. Okay, here's how you do it. There's 2 ways to make money: make more or spend less. There's 2 ways to raise money, right? Dollars and other. So if you need $1 million and it's legitimate and you can pay it back and return on investment, all that stuff, okay, great. Then you need to say, okay, let's assume you're trying to start a technology company. Okay, you need some working capital, you need some computers, you need some office supplies, you need office furniture, you need leasehold, a lease place to, basically a place to operate your business, blah, 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 right? So you need money for that. Okay, you think. But how about this? You cut a deal with the local auto dealership, and they give you a 0% lease, a $0 lease for 1 year, 2 years in exchange for branding on your company. So now that is a zero expense. Let's assume that you needed, I went to this advertising company once to help Operation Hope, and they're like, oh, we're going to charge you $700,000. By the time I finished with them, they're giving me $700,000, and they charged me not a dime because I gave them a value proposition that showed them they got more from me by investing in me than taking a check from me. So if you need capital, when I was growing up, I had credit cards. If I needed, back then it was Pep Boys. Is Pep Boy still around?
Yes, still.
This is an Ethiopian businessman here in Charlotte. I don't know if you saw him, but a good guy. And he's building wealth too. So I had Pep Boy's card for my auto expenses. I had a Sears card for my appliances. I took my credit cards and used them as a form of capital. And when I started my Brian Group Motorsports Academy, it was like, okay, I need iRacing. I need esports. So I went to a technology company and said, please give me X numbers of memberships that's valued at $100,000. Not $100,000, from them, but X numbers of memberships valued at $100,000. Well, they got that in their inventory, and assumed they liked that my business plan and wanted to be associated. Easy for them to do. Went to Ford Motor Company, got them to donate 2 prototype cars worth $500,000. I could have tried to write a check to buy the cars, but I didn't have the money and it wasn't a good use of capital. But I convinced them to invest the cars. We need some place to store the vehicles. Okay, well, cut deals with the auto dealerships and let them profile the cars on their dealership to attract people into the dealership in exchange for allowing me to keep my cars at their dealership on a rotating basis. Now my cars are going to 5 or 10 car dealerships in the area, and I'm paying nothing for storage. I'm getting free advertisement for my program. What's another example? Yeah, I mean, I can go on and on, but essentially, if you need $1 million, I can show you how to buy through the way that I just described to you. Raising $800,000 or $900,000 of what's called in-kind capital, IN-KIND, in-kind. So not a check. Is not, you don't need money. So whether somebody has an asset that you want and they loan it to you, lease it to you for $1, or invest it to you in lieu of cash, isn't that the same as having cash? Like, don't get hung up on the ego about it. What you need is enough cash to run your business. Like my man here has a car service. Now he may work for somebody else, but do you work for yourself or somebody else?
I work for myself.
Oh, come on now, I gotta show you this dude. Hold on. All right, this dude here, he's from Ethiopia too. I love it, Africa in the house. So he works for himself. So you needed a car, you needed insurance, and you had a little bit of advertising expense, got some technology here, some place to store your car, but you can store your car at home, right?
That's right, absolutely.
And so he needed a car. Well, you lease a car, and you can't buy the car, you can lease the car, and it's cheaper to lease the car. And he writes off, hopefully, all the expenses to the business. Yes?
I could correct you on that one.
Okay.
I actually have to buy the car because of how much mileage we put on the car.
Okay.
And
So
you just did the depreciation on your tax. You deduct it.
all right, same thing. So he had to buy the car because of the structure of the business, but he depreciated it on his tax returns. He knows about depreciation, so he's a smart dude. It's all the same, right? It doesn't matter which bucket you get it from. You just need the bucket full. Be more elegant and more creative in your business plan and how you go about things. Stop being simplistic in your approach. Stop looking desperate, and stop acting like people owe you something. Nobody owes you anything, right? Nothing, zero, except a chance, a shot, and an opportunity. And that's what I'm giving you every time I do one of these videos: a chance, a shot, an opportunity. And remember, capital comes from the Latin root word capital, with capitas, knowledge in the head. I want you to become smarter so you can do better. I don't think I've gotten a loan to start any of my businesses in the history of entrepreneurship. I hustled and did a lot of what I'm talking about here, and I just reinvested all of my profits until I had scale, which, by the way, impressed my investors down the road who invest in the company, investors and partners, because it's like, if John's in, then maybe I should be in too. All right, that's enough for this video. Let me know what you think. Leave comments. Let me know whether this is helpful. Peace and light. By the way, if you can raise, here's a big one for you. If you can raise $500,000 on $1 million need of in-kind commitments, which is real cash, you can then take that commitment to the bank and get a loan, a line of credit for $250,000, because now the bank sees that you have $500,000 of capital, of in-kind commitments, which serves as an asset on your balance sheet. Now this last riff was worth watching the whole video. I'm out, John Bryant.